Yeah, I'm inside the pro-Palestinian encampment here on the UCLA campus. You do get the sense that this is the final stand of these protesters. At the other side of this line of protesters, you can see some chemical substances being dispensed there. I'm not sure whether that's from the protesters or from the police, but there is a line maybe 4 or 5 police officers deep. I'd estimate at least dozens, if not 100 or more police officers preparing to storm this encampment. I think defiance and anger probably sums it up quite well. You could just see another couple of those flashbang devices going off in the distance. But yes, I think what I've been saying throughout the day is that these protests are clearly at their core pro-Palestinian, at their core about the war in Gaza, but they seem to have mushroomed into anti-police protests too. You can hear in the background protesters here chanting, "We're not scared," at the police. There's certainly no love lost between the protesters and the police here. You can just see a few more of those flashbang devices coming in. You can just see here... Sorry to interrupt, you can see here a skirmish between protesters and the police. Just see if we can get a little bit nearer. A pro-Palestinian protester tackled to the ground by police. They do have those white cable ties. They are now placing that protester under arrest, I believe, walking him out of this perimeter area. I've seen them carrying non-lethal weapons, rubber bullet, rubber pellet guns, certainly. And yes, they seem to be using these flashbang devices an awful lot. These flashbang devices, almost like incredibly loud fireworks, which are designed to both distract the protesters and distress them. I think the hope is that they'll be able to persuade some of these protesters to stand down before they have to use physical force to break up this encampment. I think you can tell by the slightly jolty camera movement what an atmosphere it is here at the moment. We're being jostled from side to side by these pro-Palestinian protesters at the moment, waving the flag in defiance here against the police officers as they let off these flashbang devices. Protesters and police now scuffling at close quarters. You can see across the line here, police also up on this hill. They're actually stood in the middle of a bush area there, brandishing weapons. They've got those. They've got the white cable ties attached to their belts there. They've also got the batons, which they're holding in their hands, clearly prepared to use them if so required against these protesters. This is remarkable, really, to see on a US university campus. But here we have dozens, perhaps 100 pro-Palestinian protesters. I think mainly students, although certainly some from outside the student community, facing off with California Highway Patrol officers. I've just been able to make out the badge on their uniform. So they are the equivalent of California state troopers. They are facing off with protesters. The police have managed to break down the physical perimeter around this encampment. This encampment for the past couple of days has been surrounded by reinforced wooden fences, by metal fences as well, tied together with string. That has now been brought down by these police officers. I've seen them make at least one arrest, just those officers in front of me. I know that there have been other arrests around the perimeter of this encampment as well, but it still remains an evolving situation here. I'm waiting to see how exactly the police will dismantle the tents in this encampment, will diffuse these protests. Presumably, the aim is to avoid using excessive force. I have seen young men and women jostled to the ground. I myself was pushed into some wooden pallets by a police officer earlier. They have warned that anyone who remains in this encampment in defiance of the dispersal order risks serious injury. I think we can just see them again going in to tackle someone to the ground. A lot of these protesters have linked arms. That's why you see them moving together in unison. They're linking arms to try and repel the California Highway Patrol officers.